Let's see here. I think this is the one. If it will let me. There you go. Okay, so this is me. I am Heather Brown. I am a kindergarten through 5th grade math interventionist, which means those students who struggle with math, I get to help with. I also teach kindergarten through 5th grade STEM or STEAM, focusing on science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics. I'm a technology leader in our school district, and I go all over the United States and present on technology. And I live in Dixon, Illinois, in the United States. So here's a little bit about my family. I have a little boy who is 3 years old. His name is Killian. And this is my husband, Justin. We've been married for 8 years now. And we like to go on vacation, so that's why we're at the beach. Now, this is what I thought you guys might find interesting is these are pictures were all taken at my house. Okay, so I actually live in the middle of a forest. Okay, so we have deer that just like to hang out in our yard. We also have other animals like possums and squirrels and chipmunks and things like that. It's almost like a Disney movie here sometimes. And then in the fall, when it starts to get colder, the leaves start to change. And as you can see in the picture, there's lots of oranges and yellows and reds, and it's actually very beautiful here in the fall. And then you have the winter, which looks absolutely amazing, but it's a lot of work because you have to shovel that snow and it gets very slippery. But we're used to it around here, so we definitely feel all of the seasons. Then I wanted to show you, oh, go away. Is it this one? No. Sorry, I have so many tabs open. Go away. But it's this one I can't see. Nope. Okay, well, I had Google Earth up. Let me just re-pull it up here quick. I think it's nice to be able to see where exactly, people are from in the world, because I can tell you I'm from the United States, but we have parts of the United States that are tropical. We have parts of the United States that have snow year round. So I think it'll be nice to show you kind of where I am though. Okay. So you guys are way over here. There you are. So you're way over here. So I am literally across the world. Okay. So here's the United States. There's Illinois. You can always find it because it's right to the left of those giant lakes in the United States. You've probably heard of Chicago, Illinois. I don't live anywhere near there, really. It takes me almost 2 hours to get there. And the reason this is all green is because most of it is farmland, like corn, soybeans, things like that. So as we get closer here, this is the town that I live in. It's not where I teach over here. I live over here. So we'll get a little bit bigger. Let's see. So right now, that's my house. You can see my house, and then we have some storage buildings out back, but as you can see, there's a lot of forest there. So I live in my own little forest. So there you go. That's a little bit about me, and I'm glad I could show you some pictures and I figured you might think of our seasons were interesting here.
We got so glad to witness your location. Fortunately, I have been to your country in January, so 2022, and I even landed in Chicago, and there I went to Arkansas University.
Okay.
So yes, so it was really amazing experience for me to stay in your country for almost 45 days. But from one point of my point of view, that I felt a bit disappointed for not visiting your country in summertime. That means during this period of time. So I visited January, means it was quite cold and the snow all over the roads.
Yeah.
So, but anyhow, I enjoyed a lot.
Good. I'm glad.
Yeah. So without wasting our time, we would like to ask my students to introduce, and I request you to answer to their questions as brief as possible because we have time constraints. So that's my request.
Okay.
Yeah. You can ask.
Hello, ma'am.
Hello.
I'm Saina Gasri. I'm an 8th grade student. I'm proudly delighted to take an opportunity to interact with you. Ma'am, I would like to pose you a question. Can I pose?
Okay.
What are some intervention strategies of math?
So there are many intervention strategies. It depends on the situation. In some cases, I pre-teach something. So like if students are going to work on fractions, I might give them a heads up on what they're actually going to be learning in class. So that way they are prepared for it. I also reteach lessons with them in small groups. And other times I don't do anything that that class is actually doing. I might work on more like addition and subtraction because that's what those students need in order to be successful.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Hello, ma'am.
Hello.
My name is Meghana. I'm studying 8th grade in JPHS Sangavaram. Can I pose you a question?
Of course.
How can augmented reality be used in everyday life?
Can you repeat that one? So, sorry, sometimes I'm sure that I'm hard to understand for you as well at times. Augmented reality is like bringing something where you are that's not actually there. So like a doctor can practice surgery on something that's not actually there, so they can practice without having to do any harm to anyone. Or I could suddenly be able to see a polar bear because while we get cold here, we don't have polar bears here. Or I might be able to show you one of the deer from my yard. So augmented reality allows people to see and experience things that you wouldn't normally be able to.
Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome. I love these students' manners.
So it's our uniform. So I don't know whether your students wear the uniform or not, but this is the girls' uniform.
Hello, ma'am. This is Anu.
Hello.
8th grade. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to introduce myself. I shall ask one question, ma'am.
Yes.
Why is technology integration is education important?
Why is technology and education important?
Yes, ma'am.
Because now, like, I wouldn't be able to talk to you without it, right? Every day we are learning more and more with technology, and it's becoming part of our everyday life. It's how we communicate, it's how we learn. And so if we don't understand how to use that technology, we can't work to our full potential. We always have to look to our future, right? And I'm sure some of you, if not many of you, will be able to out-tech me someday.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Hello, ma'am.
Hello.
I am Geetika. I am studying 8th grade at ZPHS Ailvaram. Can I ask question, ma'am?
Yes.
What is the future of augmented reality?
Well, like I had said, one of the nice things is you can do things that you can't normally do. Like I always give the example of a doctor before they're ready to be able to practice surgery. Because I don't want to be the first person they practice surgery on. So that augmented reality can really help with that, where they have that feel without having that pressure of like harming someone. And you have that with almost any field. That could be anything from like being a mechanic, working on a motor, to being a doctor. Pretty much any position would benefit from augmented reality.
Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome.
Hi, ma'am.
Hello.
My name is Anjana. I'm studying 8th grade in ZPHS Ailvaram. My hobbies are reading books and playing games. Ma'am, I can ask one question.
Of course.
What are the 3 types of approaches to mathematics intervention?
What are it? Okay. One way we can approach it is that we take things slowly, because you don't want to rush things. If you don't understand it, you don't understand it. So moving on is not going to help. So we have to make sure we go slowly. And then we add things slowly. But like right now, I'm working with multiplication fluency with 4th grade. And so we start the week only working on certain problems, and every day we add so many problems. And by the end of the week, they can master that whole set of multiplication facts. So we have to work slowly add. And honestly, you ready for this one? We play games. We play lots of games. We have to make it fun for them.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hello, ma'am.
Hello.
My name is Farina. I'm an 8th grade student. Can I ask a question, ma'am?
Of course.
What is augmented reality?
What is augmented reality?
Yes, ma'am.
If you know what virtual reality is, it's like when you put on a headset and it takes you to a whole nother world. Like you could actually be standing in my house right now. But augmented reality takes objects and puts them where you are. So you could be looking at Saturn in the middle of your classroom, or you could get to see what the president of the United States looks like. Anything like that. You could bring something to your space that's not actually there.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome.
Hello, ma'am. This is Santi. I'm an 8th grader from ZPHS Ailvaram. I feel proud to interact with you. Would you allow me to ask a question?
Of course.
How do you give confidence to the students who are poor in math?
Repeat that one more time for me.
How do you give confidence to the students who are poor in math?
We play games. We make it fun. I tie it to real life. Oh my gosh, I love making learning fun. You can usually hear the students throughout the school from my classroom. Like the fact your class is so quiet is very strange to me, because mine are always interacting and playing and having a blast. And I tie everything to real life. So when we talk about area and perimeter, we actually go around the school and measure and check the perimeter of the buildings to like solve crimes and things. Or with fractions, we cook. So we tie it to real life and play a lot of games.
Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome.
ma'am.
Hello.
My name is Lakshman. I'm studying 8th grade at educator Sailavaram. I have a question for you, ma'am. Yes.
Okay. Yes.
How is augmented reality different from the virtual reality?
Like I said, augmented reality is when you take something and you can bring it into your own space, while virtual reality, you are going into a whole new world.
Okay, ma'am. Thanks.
Thank you.
Hello, ma'am. My name is Partho. I am studying 8th grade. My hobbies are reading books and playing games. My future ambition is to become an army person. Can I ask you a question, ma'am?
Of course.
What are the main challenges for using technology in education?
A lot of it is access to the technology. There are programs that I want to use that we don't necessarily have in school. And some schools use like iPads, others use Chromebooks. Some schools don't even have all that stuff. So really the main difficulty is what we have and what we don't have. So we have to learn to use what we do have.
Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome.
So here we have one more student to come now. I have a question actually. So you are doing multiple jobs like a math intervenist and so augment, you teach the technology to the students. And,
Yes.
As per my knowledge, I think you teach some other aspects also. So among all these subjects, which subject you love to teach and which subject your students love to listen to you or pay attention to you?
It depends on the student. It always depends on the student, but I tie everything together, so that's really tough because I have all this technology stuff I use that I also tie in with the math. And actually, you know what? I'll say that STEAM is my favorite right now because it does combine math with the science and the arts and everything else. So it allows me to really consolidate everything. And there's a lot of collaboration and learning from each other. And I always tell my students that I can learn just as much from them as they can from me.
So in my perspective in India, most of the students, they are poor in math. Maybe I don't know, it is because of the lack of, maybe the teachers fail to create interest among the students. So if you see that how many of you are interested in math, raise your hands. How many of you are interested in math? Okay. You see the number here in this classroom, it's okay. But in some other classes, the number is very low. Some other classes, the number is very low. So maybe it's because of the teachers, maybe teacher fails to create interest among the students at the budding stage, maybe at the 5th grade or 4th grade or 3rd grade. So I was also one of the examples because at the time of my schooling, I tried to skip the math classes. Every time, whenever there was a math class, I tried to skip the math class because I was really scared of the math teacher. I don't know how the formulas were derived and how he taught all the problems. Because of my math teacher, I was scared of the math. So being an expert teacher in math, that too, you deal with the students who are poor in math. So you have already told us that you involve your students in a play-way method in order to bring the students to the math. So other than the play-way method, do you have any other strategies to implement in your classroom?
You have to know your students, find their interests, because if you can tie things to their interests, they're more likely to enjoy it. Now, I'll admit I hated word problems as a kid. Like, why would you mix words with math? I hated it. I hated it. I hated it. But what I do is I use those students as examples in my word problems. So I had one second grade kids, a group of second grade kids, that the word problem was something like, Lily has 16 dirty socks. Sarah has 4 more dirty socks than Lily. How many dirty socks does she have? Well, they thought that was hysterical. They were laughing. They were trying to solve it. They were just having a blast with it. And I also make fun of myself a lot. And so, like, they know that we make mistakes. We know that I'm okay with laughing at myself. I really do think part of the problem with math is that we do have some teachers who don't want to make it fun because they were taught in the old way, like we were probably taught. And that's not the way to go about it. You have to have the energy, you have to have the interaction, you have to connect with those students. Your mic's off.
I do agree with you completely. And if you were my teacher, probably I would have become a math teacher rather than the English teacher.
Well, just think of it this way. It's like almost 11 o'clock at night, and I normally go to bed at 9, and I have this much energy now.
Yes.
So think about what I'm like during the day.
Yes, yes. That means your students are so fortunate to have a young and energetic teacher like you.
Oh,
So,
yes, they have a blast.
yes,
We have fun.
These kids actually are going to appear for a competitive examination, and starting in the month of November, and these kids have been selected from a number of 100 students. So, would you like to ask any math sum to these kids to solve? Because I have something in my mind, because you are math intervenist, and if you ask any problem that they can solve, and just give a something to think of it.
Okay.
Definitely.
So you want me to give them a math problem?
Yes, yes, yes. Give them a math problem.
Oh my goodness.
Anyone, but it is easier.
Okay.
Yes.
So I'm going to give you one that you have to understand. My boss and I get along really well, okay?
Yes.
So I'm allowed to do this one.
Yes.
If my boss and I didn't get along, I'd never do this one.
Okay.
Okay. So Chris had 137 hairs on his head.
So
137 hairs on his head.
1,000.
137. 137.
137. Yes. Yes.
So he had 137 hairs on his head. By the end of the day, he only had 26 hairs left on his head.
26.
By the end of the day, he only had 26 hairs on his head. How many hairs did Mrs. Brown or me make him pull out throughout the day?
111.
You're right. Great job.
So they have proved that they are good at math because they are going to appear for a competitive examination in the month of November. So would you like to ask one more if you have anything in mind?
Let's see. Put the fraction. Yep, we're gonna do fractions. Put the fraction 27/45 into simplest terms.
27.
27/45 into simplest terms.
You understand? Yes. She's getting ready. She's coming.
I was gonna say she's got it. A girl after my own heart here.
3/5.
You're right, 3/5. Good job.
Thank you so much for asking tough questions. Maybe we are good at math. So, any more doubts regarding, because she's very good expert in math and French. You want to ask a question? Yes. Yes. Have you asked also? And you have a question, I think. Yes. Your question forward. Yes, we can. So one more.
I'm not scary, I promise. I don't bite.
One more question is coming up.
Hi, ma'am.
Hello.
My name is Samsaro. I am studying 8th grade in JPHS Hailwara. Can I ask one question, ma'am?
Yes, you may.
What are the applications and some example of augmented reality?
Okay, so I've talked about I keep going back to the doctor thing a lot because to me that's a safety thing. So that's one way to apply it. Honestly, like for your guys' age, like imagine in your science class, I don't know if you guys have to do that over there, but in the States, a lot of times in 8th grade, you have to dissect frogs, things like that, or cut them apart and look at their insides. Not my type of thing by any means, but you'd be able to do that with augmented reality without having to touch the gross frog. Ugh. You wouldn't have to smell it either. It also allows you to actually, like for math, you can actually see what the equation means, which is very important. So like you could have a little house there so you can measure the area and perimeter, things like that. It's just bringing something that you can't have into your own world.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any more questions? Yes. Here we have come to the end of the questions list that we have prepared. So it is 30 minutes past 9 o'clock here in India. So what time is it now over there?
11:01.
Oh, so it must be your bedtime.
Oh yeah, my bedtime was 2 hours ago.
Oh, yes, definitely. So before we end the session, could you please give a message to my students?
Whatever you do in life, it doesn't matter what, I don't care what job you're going to have someday, set a high goal and just go for it. Don't let anyone stop you. Just keep pushing. Set small goals to get there, but set those goals. Without those goals, you're not going to hit your dreams, okay? So you always want something to aim for. I feel like I'm old and I am still setting my goals, and I would not be here today if I didn't set the goals I did. And you can do it.
Okay, thank you so much for your wonderful message. Before we end this session, my students are going to sing our national anthem.
Okay.
Close to the camera. Hold microphone. Get together. Hold for me. Come close. 3, 2, 1.
Punjab, Sindhu, Gujarat, Maratha, Dravida, Uttara, Banga, Vindhya, Himachala, Yamuna, Ganga, Uttara, Jala, Sitaranga, Tava Shubha Name Gahe, Tava Shubha Ashisha Mare, Gahe Tava Jaya Gata, Jana Gana Mangala Dayaka, Jaya He, Bharata Bhagya Vidata, Jaya He, Jaya He, Jaya He, Jaya 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 He.
Okay. So we have to say thanks to our guest teacher. We say
Thank you.
Thank you. I enjoyed this.